A sneaky Cyberpunk 2077 reference and a seer with a prophecy to end the world of The Witcher. The Witcher Blood Origin hits some insane details in its storyline. A particularly joyous Easter egg comes in the third episode of The Witcher Blood Origin, when the show's hodgepodge team of unlikely misfits strategize over how to defeat an interdimensional monster, with the group all but accepting their powerlessness Brother Death offers.
Why don't we poison a sheep and feed it to it?
The moment is a funny one on its own, but it becomes even funnier when you realize that the idea is a direct reference to both the Witcher books and the main Netflix series, which feature the very same sheep-based strategy. In The Bounds of Reason, a short story in the book Sword of Destiny, Geralt and a large band of adventurers hunt for an alleged golden dragon that has been terrorizing a small village. Before Geralt's arrival, a local named Sheepbagger had filled a dead sheep with a number of poisons, which apparently worked and killed the dragon. Geralt arrives as another dragon begins attacking anew, and once again, Sheepbagger offers a poisoned sheep as a plan. The story is adapted for the 6th episode of Season 1 of The Witcher, this time without Sheepbagger and his ovine offense. As The Witcher Blood Origin begins, we're treated to a surprise scene starring everyone's favorite lecherous bard, Jaskier, in the modern era. Though he's saved from a chaotic scene of blood and death, it's obvious that he isn't out of the woods when his rescuer is revealed, the mysterious figure played by Minnie Driver. Her rescue is as horrifying as the battle before it, as is her inestimable amount of magic power, much of which she shares with another mysterious figure from the Witcher lore, Gaunter O'Dimm from the video game The Witcher 3. In the game, O'Dimm takes a special interest in Geralt, which he never quite explains, and results in the figure helping and harming the Witcher's quest according to his whim. Likewise, Driver's character takes a special interest in Jaskier, which she also never explains, aside from calling herself a fellow storyteller. They both upend the lives of their chosen mortals, and they display a striking amount of similarities in their godlike powers and dubious morality. Both display the ability to freeze time completely, and both wander freely among the frozen populace, aiding or killing them at will. On the other hand, this mysterious character might not be a reference to O'Dimm at all. After first appearing to Jaskier in his own form, she tells him,
"I have other faces, if you prefer."
The combination of that shape and that mask strongly resembles the crones, or ladies of the wood, from The Witcher 3, specifically the hulking Brewess. Brewess and her two sisters may have been referenced on Netflix before, in the form of the Cabin Witch from Season 2 of The Witcher. All these characters share a number of traits, many of which can be traced back to the Slavic folklore figure Baba Yaga. Whether or not this new character is revealed to be one of the crones or not, she is certainly a part of the Netflix series' habit of hinting at their existence. In The Witcher Blood Origin, there is no character whose importance to the story is more significant than it seems than Avallac'h, the young elvish apprentice. Fans of the books and video games alike will recognize the name of one of the most important in the history of Elvendom, and specifically the history of Ciri. In both the books and video games, Avallac'h is an old elf with an immense amount of magical knowledge and power. More so in the games, he becomes Ciri's mentor and protector, teaching her how to safely wield her powers and keeping them from falling into the wrong hands. Given the young Avallac'h's appearance in the post-credit scene of the miniseries last episode, he may yet fulfill some of the same grand duties as his counterparts in other media. Another small role in The Witcher Blood Origin is Ithlinne. The young girl appears only briefly in the first and last episodes, bookending the miniseries with quick teasers at her true nature. In both episodes, she enters trance and delivers prophecies to Avallac'h, the Lark, demonstrating a natural magical affinity and the rare gift of foresight. However, for fans of the books, games, and other media, Ithlinne and her prophecies mean so much more than mere guidance to a single elf warrior. They're the reason for all the machinations that end up enveloping Ciri and Geralt. Though the Ithlinne we meet in this series is just a young girl, she'll grow up to become the greatest seer of her age, and potentially in the history of the Witcher timeline. She's known for a number of prophecies that come true, but more than anything for one that has yet to come true. Simply known as Ithlinne's prophecy, it reads in part, "The world will die amidst frost and be reborn with the new sun. It will be reborn of elder blood, of henny care, of the seed that has been sown, a seed which will not sprout but burst into flame. In the eyes of many of the continent's wisest and most powerful, that elder blood must be Ciri, meaning whoever controls Ciri controls the ending and rebirth of the world." It's thanks to the old elven mage Balor that we hear one of the most subtle Easter eggs in all of The Witcher Blood Origin. The mage is selfish, ruthless, power-hungry, and spiteful, which is why after he banishes political rival Eredin to another world, he can't resist one final curse. As he expels Eredin and his men, Balor adds,
"Wherever this takes you, may you burn for all eternity."
For Witcher fans who know Eredin's destiny, the line is ironic and cheeky. The Eredin in the books, games, and other media eventually becomes a king of the Wild Hunt, a title given to him for not only commanding the fearsome raiding party the Wild Hunt, but for leading their attacks from the front as an ancient king might. The irony in Balor's last curse upon Eredin comes in how the Wild Hunt operates. All their raids are fought with frost magic. Specifically, they use pieces of the all-consuming white frost to inflict devastating premature winters on their targets, turn them to ice using frost magic, and even employ dog-like ice elementals as their frontline offensive. Not only is Eredin not burning for all eternity, he's actually freezing more than almost anyone. It's no secret to those who pay attention that the elves of the Witcher world are heavily inspired by Celtic mythology and actual Irish history. Their place names, surnames, and even the name of their species are overwhelmingly Gaelic. For example, the two main races of elves are known as the Enshe, an obvious play on the Eshe, the fairy folk in Celtic mythology whose name literally means people of the mound, and the Enel also play on the same, this time meaning people of the Alders. In The Witcher Blood Origin, the connection between elves and Ireland is taken a step further by the Lark's song, The Black Rose. The bard sings the ballad multiple times throughout the miniseries, and ultimately inspires revolution among the lower-class citizens. The title of the song is intentionally referential to Irish culture. The Black Rose is a well-known symbol for Ireland itself, and the subject of one of its most famous tunes. The song, written in or around the 16th century, has become a traditional Irish ballad, and as such has become an integral part of the country's folk tradition. Because The Witcher Blood Origin introduces the first Witcher to ever prowl the continent, it naturally has to also introduce the first trial of the grasses, the process by which witches are made. In one fascinating Easter egg, it turns out that the ingredients that went into this first beta test of a trial share a lot in common with the ingredient list detailed in The Witcher 3. Set 1,200 years after this series, when Zachary and the rest of the team gather herbs to begin the trial, she claims to require,
"There are fanewood flowers in this cave, but I'll need you to collect mandrake root, wolfsbane, and corpse nettle. And we'll need the heart of the beast back at the monolith."
When Geralt and company try to recreate this decoction of the grasses in The Witcher 3, the recipe is similar. Mandrake root remains, as does the body part of a monster. The major difference seems to be that later witchers find common plants sufficient substitutes for the much rarer wolfsbane, corpse nettle, and fanewood flowers. Though Avallac'h has relatively little screen time and plot importance in The Witcher Blood Origin, one line of dialogue he just barely manages to finish is one of the series' coolest Easter eggs. After he's allowed to pore over the writings of the brilliant mage Sindril regarding interdimensional travel, Avallac'h excitedly reports to Queen Merwin that the conjunctions might allow for time travel, as well as interdimensional transit. A small detail you might have missed here is that Avallac'h is actually right, and Ciri has proven it. In one of the more emotional scenes in The Witcher 3, Geralt and Ciri share a deep fireside talk, having just reunited after years apart. As Ciri recalls her pursuit by the Wild Hunt and the protection of Avallac'h, she tells Geralt,
"We found a portal and took us to a world where Eredin couldn't find us.
When Geralt asks her about that world, Ciri recalls that
People there had metal in their heads, waged war from a distance, using things similar to megascopes, and there were no horses."
Though Geralt doesn't believe her, Ciri is telling the truth. She traveled into the future, and as many fans believe, that future is the setting of Cyberpunk 2077. One interesting phenomenon that appears twice in The Witcher Blood Origin is the concept of celestial twins. The first instance comes when Balor tries to provide some unknown godlike deity with an appropriate sacrifice in exchange for power. The mage offers the unseen force a pair of celestial siblings, thinking their cosmic importance to be an adequate payment. Though he ends up being wrong, at least in the eyes of the mysterious being, it's clear that celestial siblings are thought to hold an abundance of magical power. When it's revealed that Sindril and Sakar are also celestial twins, and that both their magical abilities are bolstered by that connection, Balor is confirmed to be right. However, fans of the core series, The Witcher, may already recognize celestial siblings and the powerful destiny they share. In the first episode of The Witcher, Geralt is tasked with capturing Renfri, herself a celestial twin. The power behind celestial twins lies in the date of their birth, especially in the moon on the night of their birth. And for Renfri, her birth came during a prophesized eclipse known as the Black Sun. It's a hard and fast rule within the Witcher canon that women cannot become witches. According to the lore of the books, women are simply not strong enough to endure the trial of the grasses, let alone the myriad other challenges that follow, and are therefore never even considered for the job. Luckily for gender equality and for common sense in general, the Witcher blood origin has finally taken a canon position to the contrary. When Sindril and Zakar suggest creating a monster to fight Barlow's creature, they hint that only the strongest among them has even the slightest hope of surviving the transformation. Based on that knowledge, the group agrees that El the Lark is the best candidate. That means that the first Witcher to grace a continent is originally supposed to be female. It is only because El is so beloved by Fial, who can't bear the thought of her dying or becoming a monster, that he sneakily undergoes a trial in her place. So the first Witcher ends up male, and the ridiculous idea that women can't be witches takes hold.